the one and only Leo Biaz. Hey, Leo.
I'm excited to be back, my man. It was 9 days in Vegas. We got stuck in the desert, and we had a little hangover remix out there, man.
I wore a wig to school once, and they said no headgear was allowed.
How did
Spiderweb
was it
tights.
Obvious that it was a wig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was having fun.
Wig.
See, this is exactly why we have them on the show, and this is what makes them fun.
You're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM. My name is Miriam, and I am the voice of Stockton.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Good morning, Stocktonians, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tales and Tips. I am honored today to have with me several ladies from the Assistant League of Stockton, Inc. Before we get into a lively discussion about that phenomenal organization, I just wanted to remind all of you that Stockton is having a 4th of July parade, and that is hosted by the United Veterans Council of San Joaquin. If you are interested in having a float or just walking in the parade, please contact my friend Linda Vasquez, who is the parade committee chair. Her number is 209-361-9422, and that parade will be happening on the actual 4th of July, which is on a Wednesday this year at 10 a.m. downtown Stockton. And let's celebrate our community, let's celebrate our country. Please come out and participate in the 4th of July parade. Thank you. All right, so with no further ado, let's have an amazing conversation about the Assistants League. I am honored to have with me today Beverly Lewis-Clark, who is the president, Ilona McPhee-Richenberg, who's the vice president of operations, Dory Nicolas, who's the chairperson of strategic planning, and Juli Kramer, who's the vice president of resource development. So let's start with whoever wants to take the question. Let's explain to our listeners, what is Assistants League? What do they do? What is their mission?
Well, the Assistants League of Stockton is a nonprofit organization made up entirely of volunteers. We have no paid employees.
Awesome.
What we do is we provide philanthropic programs for our community to help children as well as help adults, and especially children that are going into foster care, and adults are in perhaps domestic violent cases and things like that. So we are a nonprofit. Most of our funding comes through a thrift shop, and we are here to help those in need in our community.
And more specifically, how are you helping them? What are you doing for them? What are you providing for them?
Well, through our philanthropic programs, we provide for children in school-age children in elementary school. We provide brand new clothing, shoes, all their basic needs to start school each year. We've clothed quite a few children that way. We also have a program in which we do one-on-one reading with students that are below reading level in 2nd grade. We go into the schools with a puppet program in which we demonstrate small skits dealing with issues children have today. We provide backpacks full of new clothing and different things for foster kids that are being pulled from their homes and going into foster care. And we provide kits also for people that are in a domestic situation, be it men or women, and we provide those mostly through the women's shelter.
Wonderful, wonderful. And how many people in our community do you help, and is this countywide or is this just in the city of Stockton?
Well, I can answer that a little bit. We work with the school districts of Stockton, Lodi, and Linden.
Wonderful.
And
so countywide.
Countywide, and through our programs that are free to children and adults, we have helped 1,200 students with Operation School Bell. And that's the program where new clothing are given to children in elementary school who don't have clothing, or they're wearing their older siblings' clothes. And so we work with school counselors and then provide them with quite a variety of clothes that we can go into later. We also have about the performances at elementary schools for 3rd graders. It's called Kids on the Block. And it's over 3,000 participants last year, and the programs, which will be detailed a bit, they go into either issues of divorce or bullying is a big one now, and children that have disabilities. So it's a sensitivity kind of puppet show, which really engages the children. And then we have the comfort kits that go to children who are going into foster care. We provide about close to 300, about 288 at least a year to kids, and with over 1,200 kids right now in foster care, it doesn't seem like there's a shortage of need for kids entering foster care.
We have a huge percentage in our county of kids in foster care.
The assault kits, we make at least 75 to 80 a year that go to women and men in need. And then the thrift store, which is not a philanthropic program, which means that we do charge, but we have very reasonable rates, but we have literally hundreds and thousands of participants who either donate or who purchase, and people who do both, donate and purchase. So we do have a wide cross of needy children and adults in our area that we serve every single year.
Wonderful. Awesome. And the need is huge. As you mentioned, we do have a lot of kids that are in foster care. We have a lot of kids that are raised in single-parent households or raised by their families.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Just one statistic that I've used in grant writing is that the Stockton Unified School District says that 82% of their families, the kids that go to school, are high poverty.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's astounding to hear that number, and it just highlights the importance of your organization, and people don't realize that that's going on in our own community and how strong a need there is. So if a family is listening that's in need, I know you mentioned that counselors will contact you. Can families contact you directly as well?
That's a good question. We have, due to confidentiality and lots of reasons, we work through the school districts, through the school counselors and administration, and then we also work with CASA and the Child Abuse Prevention Council.
Wonderful.
So that CASA helps deliver to the school, so we are involved in many aspects of the community to help.
And shout out to Shauna and Charlene, both of my friends connected with the Child Abuse Prevention Center. So let's go back. Let's talk about where is the location of your thrift store. So if we have listeners that want to support you, where is the thrift store? What are the hours that it's open?
Okay, our thrift store is located at 1319 and 1323 East Harding Way here in Stockton. And it is between West Lane and Wilson. It's across the street from the Balloonery, if you know where that is. We're right across the street. We are the gray building, and we now have a beautiful new sign that says Thrift Shop in bright red, so you can't miss us.
Awesome. And what days and hours are you open?
We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4.
Wonderful. And earlier you were talking about the fact that several of your board members volunteer in the thrift shop. What about people in the community? Besides donating, can they volunteer in the thrift shop?
Why don't you answer that, Ilona?
Yes, we do have, especially in the last few years, we have been able to recruit, if you will, community volunteers who don't necessarily want to commit to consistent hours of working, but want to really help with distribution of donated items in the shop, and they come on their own time and own hours and work with someone in the thrift shop who is a member. And we don't know what we would do without these community volunteers. We are so blessed to have a great amount of donations presented to us. We have a donation door on the Sierra Nevada side of the building, and especially over the weekend, we have lots of donations from after garage sales or yard sales.
Great.
And people bring to us. So our community volunteers come in, especially on Monday while we're closed, and sort and tag and get ready for the actual members to do the pricing and get them out on the floor.
Great.
So they are just priceless.
And that donation door that you talked about, when is that open? Can people donate any time, or is it only during operational hours?
It's usually during operational hours, but most people realize that we are there on Monday to restock the thrift store. And if the gates are open, that usually means someone is there.
Okay.
But there's a
awesome.
big sign out on that side of the building that lets them know when the donation hours are and what we can't accept.
Okay.
So there's a few things that consumers, the Consumer Report magazine lists as things thrift stores aren't allowed to take.
Can you mention some of those for our listeners?
Cribs, a lot of children's cribs that because of safety hazards and recalls, we don't take any computer monitors or towers, bicycles, things that just don't, that aren't clean, that
Okay.
aren't in good repair. Because who would want them? Nobody really wants them. And as again, I say we're blessed with a lot of donations, and what we're not able to use right now, we are giving those reusable donations to the Cerebral Palsy Organization.
Wonderful.
And they pick up every Tuesday, I believe,
Wonderful.
and fill their bus with everything that we can't use, but they use.
Great.
And are really happy to get, because they
And-
sell them as well. And the money that they sell, those donations go to their clients.
Great. My friend Jill Faso does their promoting, and she just had a huge event at Swenson Park that was very successful. Shout out to Jill Faso. All right. So if someone wants to contact you, is there a phone number they can call, like to donate hours, or if they have questions about a donation, how do they reach you?
Yes, they can always come into the shop. We have a little form that they could fill out with their name and phone number, and one of our membership contacts will contact them and set up a time to meet with them. And that phone number is 209-466-8386.
Perfect. Wonderful.
We do have an email address as well. I can't read it, so I'm going to have my...
Email is thriftshopal, that's one word, thriftshopal @att.net.
Perfect. And do you have a website?
We do, and it's stockton.assistanceleague.org.
And then I visited your Facebook page. I know that you have the Assistance League of Stockton.
Yes, we do.
And it's great. It highlights a lot of your wonderful things that you're doing in the community. Well, let's hear from each one of you what motivated you to be part of this organization. And then if you want to share a special story, an encounter of someone that you've helped, something that really touched your heart. So let's go around. We'll start with Beverly.
All right, what drew me to the Assistance League? I have my own business. I import teddy bears from China. And I've been selling to the Assistance League as a vendor for 20 years. And I became very endeared to them because of what these ladies do throughout the country, because I sell nationwide. And I always told them if I ever retire, I'm joining the Assistance League. Because I thought there was a conflict of interest. Anyway, Stockton happened to have an Assistance League. I did not know. They don't have a bear program, so I wasn't aware. But when I found out they did, I went to one of their tea socials, and I joined the Assistance League 2 years ago, and I'm president today. But it's just what we do. It's so endearing to know that we make a difference out there, and that's what drew me to the Assistance League.
Awesome. Ilona?
Yes. Well, I moved from the Bay Area to Linden, knowing absolutely nothing about the Central Valley, how hot it gets or how cold it gets. And, of course, I'm a secondhand store, flea market kind of gal. And I'm going, okay, where in Stockton? So I headed out on Highway 26 from Linden and sort of took the main roads. And here I found a couple of other thrift stores that I shall not mention. And then I ran into the Assistance League and went into it, and it was a really nice store. Everybody was so friendly. They greeted me, and I didn't know it was an all-volunteer. But I said, how do you get to work here? Oh, we're all volunteers. I'm going, great. Can I fill out something? I want to volunteer. So that's how it started.
Awesome.
But then what really endeared me was the fact that they do so many wonderful things for kids and families. And having been a CASA in Santa Cruz, having been a teacher many years of my life, kids were really what drew me to the Assistance League. And I've been there 10 years now. I too was president in my second year there. So that doesn't mean everybody has to be president in their second year. But the enthusiasm really helps.
Wonderful. All right. Dory?
Well, I retired from being an art teacher at the age of 68, and I enjoyed sleeping in and catching up on my reading and gardening. And then one day I was telling my daughter, I need a reason to get up in the morning. And she said, well, Mom, volunteer. But I didn't have any idea where or with whom or how do you go about volunteering. So I was at the manicurist, and while my nails were drying, Lorraine's were being soaked, and she started telling me about the Assistance League and invited me to a regular meeting of the membership. So I went, and I'm sitting there, this is really interesting. These ladies are wonderful. And I was immediately drawn to, being a teacher, I was drawn to the Book Buddies program and the Kids on the Block. And I did feel I had to choose one. So I'm active in Book Buddies, and we help 12 second graders every year come up to grade level with reading. And the day of that meeting, I signed up and immediately volunteered to participate in the Rotary Read-In.
Awesome.
So I just jumped in.
Shout out Rotary Club of Stockton.
And it's,
we started that program.
Yeah,
That's
such a really warm welcome by all the membership too. Just immediate friendships. It's wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Rotary Read-In, we went to over 800 classrooms this year, which is pretty amazing. Thrilled with that.
I think all of us did the reading.
Yay! Awesome. Now, going back to the number of children that are helped get up to reading level, could that expand if there were more volunteers?
Yes, and that is, would this be a good place to talk about future plans, or you want to hear from
Sure.
Julie first? Okay.
This is your show. We'll go wherever you want to go.
Well, June is the beginning of our year, so we will be starting to write our strategic plan for the 2018-2019 year. And we did a survey of the membership to see what kind of priorities we had, because we have some buy-in on our goals, and if members have input into the goals, we're much more likely to be successful. So we're going for a bottom-up rather than a top-down plan. And it was the consensus of our membership that the highest priority is going to be member recruitment. We have 4 philanthropic programs that we want to maintain and even expand if possible. Perhaps we could clothe more children if we added one more school. We recently gave a PowerPoint presentation to the one school where we have the Book Buddies program, Lottie Grunsky School. It started with 6 students the first year, and it was so successful the principal said 12 next year. So it's been 12 ever since. But that requires 12 volunteers to do it. That's very high maintenance. So we gave this PowerPoint presentation. It was supposed to be originally to the second grade teachers who were supplying the students. But when the principal heard about it, he said, no, I want the whole faculty to hear about this. So we gave it to the whole faculty, and we've got 4th and 5th grade teachers saying, I've got a couple students who aren't reading at grade level. How about helping the kids who are older? Which would mean devising a whole new program for that grade level with phonics and reading and testing to identify where to start with them. We would love to do that.
That would be amazing.
All of these things take more manpower and, of course, more funding. So our highest priority is going to be attracting people to the programs, which is why all of us started the good stuff that we do. And we hold offices and chair committees and work in the thrift store because that's what it takes to keep those philanthropic programs going.
And Lottie Grunsky is a special school to Junior League as well, which I'm a part of. We do a lot of activities there. We have plant sales and things like that, and we have a rolling van where students can purchase items, and It's a school that's in need, that's in our community.
Yeah. Operation School Bell is there. Kids on the Block is there. Book Buddies is there. They're just 2 blocks from our thrift store, so
Perfect.
It's the perfect school to adopt. Yeah. So this year also we want to do more community outreach, which this interview right here is perfect for us. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome, and we'll get you in Lions also.
All right, okay. Yeah, we have to get known all over Stockton, not just the people driving down Harding Way. Yeah, that's the goal, community outreach, however we can, to recruit as many members as we can.
You might consider having some kind of group of people go to the parade as well. For nonprofits, it's free to participate in the parade, and I didn't mention that earlier.
All right,
So that would be another great opportunity, even if you just walked with signs saying who you are and what you do.
Depending on the temperature that day.
We'll try to custom order that and make it a cool day.
We have lots of umbrellas at the thrift store.
That's true. Parasols now. Well, I think you ended with why I joined, and my whole career has been in nonprofit administration and development, which means fundraising and grant writing. And so when I retired from working in Sacramento for an agency, I was there for 9 years, and they found forever families for kids in foster care. So a lot of issues around the kids being in foster care and the mental health that they need and the extra help that they need when they're out on their own. And at 18, there could be on this so many issues around kids in foster care. So when I moved here, I have 2 daughters here and their families, and so after retirement, and I'm looking around for bookcases and things for my new house, and I went to all the thrift stores. So I walk into Al's, which is Assistance League thrift store.
I like that. Al's. That's catchy.
And it was just amazing because some of the other thrift stores aren't as amazing as Al's is. And so, and everyone there was so friendly, and I looked around. I didn't see any bookcases, but I was just blown away by how wonderful it was in there. And I had seen a little story in some publication about the thrift store, and it just caught my eye and my attention. And then there on the counter were these pamphlets about what they do and helping kids in foster care, and that was the trigger for me. I said, oh my goodness, this is a volunteer organization I might want to join. And the ladies there just sort of like, oh,
scooped you right
in the next 2 years you could be president. No, they didn't.
We're so fortunate to have someone so capable of writing grants, because not everyone can do that. It's very tedious, and you really have to just write on the nail, and we are so blessed to have Julie. It's just been really wonderful.
Assistance League has such a wonderful reputation in this town, and a wonderful mission, helping kids, and then so it makes it easy to write a grant for them. And so we look to local foundations, family foundations, and corporate foundations to help us out, and they have been boosters of Assistance League for many years, and so we're looking forward to engaging them in our mission.
Wonderful. And besides the thrift store and grant writing, how else do you raise funds? What type of fundraisers do you have?
Well, go ahead. You can talk about the thrift store.
Well, I think you'd be better.
Okay.
Especially with what's coming up.
Okay.
What's coming up is very exciting.
Of course, the thrift store is our biggest fundraiser that we run it's a business that we run, brings in the very large portion of our funding. But Julie does the grant writing, obviously, and that has been very successful this past year because it kind of had died down quite a bit before Julie came on board. But you know, we also we've never been big in fundraising, but since I've been president, we've taken a whole new attitude on that. So this coming year, like Dory said, starts June 1st. We are going to be doing a fundraiser in October 20th. It's going to be a golf tournament.
Yay.
Fundraiser that we're going to do at the Venetian Gardens Community Center. And this will be the first time we've tried this, so it's going to be exciting for all of us, but we really have high hopes for it. We also do a annual, we just started it last year, holiday craft boutique. We have a lot of ladies in our organization that are crafters. We have a crafter group that meets monthly, and we're doing our holiday boutique again this coming year, and that'll be November 17th and 18th.
Where?
Again at the Venetian Gardens Community Center. So that's another one of our events that we just started and we plan to continue. And of course, once a year we do our Tea Social, our membership Tea Social, which we encourage people that have not, maybe don't know about us or are looking for something to put a little time into. We do our Tea Social. We had an extremely successful Tea Social in April. And so we're going to continue with that as well. But we're always looking for other opportunities to fundraise. We did an event at the Bob Hope. We were invited by the Bob Hope Friends of the Fox, and we did a Shirley Temple event that was successful for us. But again, it takes membership. It takes more people. And right now our membership sets at 85, and we have 20 community volunteers at this time. So we really need to expand upon that in order to expand on the things, because it is quite the commitment to work our thrift shop and also get involved in our philanthropic programs. But it's so rewarding. I don't know how to, it's just extremely rewarding.
And one of our goals is to allow each new member to find their niche. What draws them? What are their interests? What are their gifts? And how can they bring that to the overall mission? So if it's grant writing, yeah, there you are. And if it's working with people and you want to work extra in the thrift store, go for it. Whatever committee, whatever office you might want to be comfortable with, treasurer, you know, those are things that require special skills. And whatever the gifts and interests of a particular member are, we try to make them happy in their membership.
Julie, I'd like to add something. We've been talking about all the work that our volunteers do. I just want to mention too that we have a lot of social activities. We have a pinochle group, we have bunco, we have a bridge group. We might even have a poker group if anyone was interested in doing that.
Bowling team.
A bowling team, yes. So it's not all work all the time. And because we are such a tight-knit group, those social activities really help bond us together, and it's just so worthwhile on a personal level to create such new friends. We're automatically friends, but the more we get to know each other and share our lives, the more it becomes so much more to us.
Awesome. And earlier you were mentioning that this is not just a local organization, but it's a national as well. Did you want to talk about
Ilona can talk about the history, some of our history.
I am going to talk a little bit about the history because it's really quite interesting. And we have to start back to the 1890s, where two very affluent humanitarian community-serving ladies decided they needed to do something for the community, and this is in Southern California, that really filled a need where maybe other little organizations weren't able to. Their names were Ann Banning and Ada Laughlin. Now, Ada Laughlin, you may know because their family actually started Fiesta Dinnerware, which is still very, very popular. And Ann Banning, her husband's father, is called well, he started the Port of Los Angeles.
Oh,
and he also developed Catalina Island.
Wow.
So these ladies in their spare time decided they were going to do something for the community, and they were able to help small little organizations and families within the Southern California. And then the 1906 earthquake hit. Well, there was a need that everybody needed to help fill, and they and their small band of women started shipping supplies up to families in need after the 1906 earthquake. So in 1935, they decided, all these women that had been so helpful, to start an organization called the Assistance League. And we're going to jump to the future now, to Stockton in 1968. where a small group of women, and that included Bev McCarthy and Pat Pickering.
Oh, Bev is my friend. She's in my Rotary.
Yes,
She's a good friend of mine.
She's a great member and a wonderful woman in the community, as are all the early founders of the Assistance League.
And she served on city council.
Yes, and she wears the cutest hats.
Which she gets from us.
Yes, that's true.
Perfect. Yes, she is.
Perfect.
But yeah, so anyway, they decided they wanted to create a chapter of the Assistance League. And in 1968, they only had perhaps 10 or 12 ladies, so we really didn't qualify as a chapter, but we could be on the list. And if we could acquire 50 or more members, then we would become a chapter. And in 1973, we did become the 55th chapter of the National Assistance League. Now in 2017, as Dory mentioned, we have 120 chapters throughout the United States, including Hawaii and Puerto Rico, with about 23,000 members. The Assistance League ladies early on knew that their programs, and we have so many programs and we've come such a long way. If you don't mind, I'm just going to hit a few of them. They first started out with a dental program where they would go to the schools and they would teach children how to brush their teeth. And in those days, the fluoride was becoming very popular. They suggested the dentists and American Dental Association. So the ladies would go to the schools and teach them how to brush their teeth. It was called a brush-in. Later on, and in unison with the Junior League, they started a speakers bureau. And we had speakers like Jill St. John and Dr. Joyce Brothers. We even had Bob Hope's comedy writer be one of our guest speakers. And we were managed to fill 3,000 people at some of these events. And it was very, very successful. So supporting these programs, they decided to open a little gift shop on Yosemite, and it was called Calico Cat. And the ladies would make handcrafted items and sell them, and they were lucky if they could make $7 or $8 a day, but how it contributed to the cause. And eventually they decided, well, let's try a little bit bigger shop. So they opened one on Fremont, and that one wasn't super successful because there just wasn't enough foot traffic. And then by 1989, they said, let's think about buying a building and really opening a thrift shop. So here we found this beautiful property and buildings on Harding. And they were all occupied by different renters. We had a grocery store on the far end, which is the 1319 address. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. And then 2 shops in the middle, and a little building in the back on Sierra Nevada that was actually a shoe repair place. And I have to interject a wonderful story about the shoe repair store, because one of a small boy at the time, his father used to always bring him to that shoe shop and have his shoes repaired. And they kept repairing them and soling them, putting new soles, and finally the fella says, I can't do these anymore. They're so worn out. They're just down to the tops of the leather. Well, this gentleman, as he got older a few years ago, he remembered our shop, and he remembered what we do with children, how we provide shoes and clothing. And he made a huge, huge donation of about $40,000 worth of antiques and collectibles. So that was a huge part of the renovation project for our building as well. So where was I?
You bought the building.
We bought the building, and we took 1/3 of it, which is about 3,000 square feet, leaving a 4,000 square foot grocery store that at the time it was an asset to us because it helped us pay for the building. And he was very successful, and this shop, the grocery store, had been there for a long time, and many of the local Stocktonians will remember it as a meat market. And as we kept doing a little bit more promotion, a little bit more publicity, more people found out who we were and what we did, and donations were coming in. And we said, oh, geez, we're sort of outgrowing this little shop. We were working in about 600 square feet to run all of our donations through the shop. And most of you know that's not a very large space. So around 1992, we said, okay, it's time that we really need to expand. And the grocery store wasn't doing so well. They were really struggling because of the recession. So we asked them to relocate, and then we started the renovation of the west side of the building. So I need to backtrack a little bit. The members on the initial purchase of the building self-financed that purchase. Wow. So in 2012, when we decided to do a renovation, it was going to cost us about $250,000 to gut it from top to bottom, wall to wall, including the floors. And we didn't know how long that renovation was going to last. It took us 4.5 years. But with the help of the community, through fundraising, through teas, through every way possible that we could think of to get the word out that this renovation was underway, we were able to get the majority of the money. And then again, our members set aside $5,000, some even $10,000 to help support that cause. They would be getting some interest back, not a whole lot, but probably more than any bank would offer. And anyway, by 2016, we were able to open the store, brand spanking new. You had mentioned the balloonery across the street in Ann Johnston. And
President of Rotary Club of Stockton, shout out.
Yes, and shout out to Ann too, because she was very instrumental.
Our past mayor also.
Yes, but when we had talked to her about the renovation, she says, you know, you can get a facade grant through the city of Stockton. Well, that seemed overwhelming, but we were able to do that. So that's where we started, was giving our shop a facelift. And then after that, we have a dear member, she was actually a new member at the time, says, well, my husband is an architect. And he was an architect and very well known in Stockton. And he said, I will design the interior of your building as well as the new facade. And he was able to do that. We went through the city and got grants and all the permits. And we had a wonderful organization to help us with that, and working with the city. We had all the layout. The ladies decided where they wanted things and how they were going to put them, and designing the new parking lot. And in July of 2016, we were able to open a brand new shop.
Wonderful. Awesome.
And we really take pains to make very nice displays within the shop. So our motto has to be, we only look expensive.
That's awesome. I love that. That's cute. That's adorable. All right. Well, earlier, someone mentioned that there's really 4 kind of activities that you do. Do we want to go and highlight now in more detail the 4 different activities?
Well, I think I could probably kick it off by saying, what do we do with Operation School Bell? We've shared with you how it happens that a child is identified at a school, and the school counselor contacts us. There's a committee that keeps our stock of the donation. I'm going to share that in a second. What happens is that the child is given uniform style long pants, 2 polo shirts, a lightweight jacket, a sweatshirt, 6 pairs of underwear, 6 pairs of socks, a health kit, some other notions, and a book, and a gift card for shoes. And
a stuffed animal.
And the stuffed animal. So it's quite a substantial donation for the child. And one little boy who was called to the counselor's office in trepidation. He didn't know what was going to go on. And so he gets to the office, and then he's presented with this bountiful amount of brand new clothing. And he says, "Are these mine? Can I take them home?" And that just says it all, like right there, that he needed everything that was in that backpack, and it was so precious to him. Another story is that one day in the shop, a young woman comes in, and she's shopping around and looking at different things, and then talked to one of the ladies and said, "You know, I received your Operation School Bell donation when I was a kid, and I've never forgotten it." And she came into our store and she shared that with somebody. It almost makes you want to cry because
I'm getting teary.
long-lasting effects
It's
of
beautiful.
this
One act
little
of kindness.
one act of kindness, absolutely, and that's really why we do it.
Well, and it
Because-
seems little, but it's huge to them.
Right.
One little boy said, "Now I can do a sleepover at my friend's house because I have good clothes to take with me."
Yes.
Opens up a whole new world. to
I
them.
have one experience where we kind of like to be, I never was big on doing yard sales or going to yard sales, but one day I was out and I saw a yard sale and I went up to it and I was talking to the young lady that was running it. And somehow we got on the subject of the Assistance League, what I do and so on. And she told me she was a recipient of
Wow.
one of our generosities. And she said she was literally homeless. And when she finally found a place that through one of our programs, she was able to get a job. And she says, "I'm where I'm at today because of the Assistance League." She really felt strongly that's how she got out of that position she was in, was because of us.
That's huge.
The symbol of the Operation School Bell program is a 5-point red star. And each of those points represents what we can do for children. And only one of them is clothing. Another one is health. Another one is hunger. Another one is education. And the last one is supplies. So any of those things that we provide school-age children falls under this star-shaped umbrella of Operation School Bell. So even our Book Buddies program is part of the education aspect of Operation School Bell. And Kids on the Block, the education that gives to the third graders, is under that broad umbrella. So focusing on school-age children, giving them this little bit of boost at this age. And to see these second graders improve their reading so much over the course of a year with just a half hour of extra tutoring a week, it's just so fulfilling.
Awesome. And you have that red star and the A in your emblem.
Yes. Yep.
I'm
Because
glad you
that is
explained that.
the signature program that every chapter has. That's where it all started. And my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, that it started with the migrant children who would come new to a school that required uniforms, and there was no way their parents could afford that. And that, I think, is how it started and then expanded to any child that was in need of clothing that would fit.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal.
So School Bell has been in operation since the mid-1980s. And though we, our average number of children we reach is about 1,200 per year. Some years it's a little bit higher than that. Some years it's a little lower. Of course, it depends on our finances and what we're able to support. But the goal there is, as we talked about, we get referrals from counselors. And at every school year's end, there is still a long list of children who would really like to have our services and to be able to receive new clothing. And our goal eventually is not to have that list. We want to be able to fill every child's need.
And how long do you think that list is on average? How many more kids are there that have need beyond what you're able to do?
I can only guesstimate, but I would say perhaps 100 to 150.
Okay, so not a huge amount in comparison to what you're able to do.
Exactly.
And Julie did mention.
Pop up, the Stockton Unified School District has 40,000 kids in it. And so with 82% in high poverty, and we work with the elementary school part of it. So it even though as you know, more people find out, the list would be bigger. But
Yes.
right now, with the schools that we do help, that's what it is. Yeah.
So we talk about how we fund these things through our thrift shop, grant writing, even personal donations. We ask how the community can help us. Well, we need volunteers. Obviously, membership is one great way that we can expand our programs, is by having more manpower to operate our programs. And the other thing is supporting our fundraising efforts. Our thrift shop is a fundraiser, in essence, for us. So frequent our thrift shop. Come into our shop. It's a beautiful shop. We don't even really call it a thrift shop. It looks more like a boutique. It's just so well done by the ladies, and support that. That's one way of supporting us. And when we have a fundraiser, support our fundraisers. That's another way. There's just a lot of ways. Your donations support us. The donations you give at our door supports us. So the community we need them. We need the community support as well. We have a wonderful group of ladies, a very compassionate group of ladies. That's the one thing we truly have in common. We're very compassionate about the cause in which we support. And that's how most people are brought to us. But if you have some time, a few hours, you want to give our way, we would love it. We would appreciate it. You won't be turned away.
And remind our listeners, how do they reach you? What's the phone number and the website? How do they contact you?
Or come into the shop is another way. And our community outreach has really been working hard to be at every event we can be at. We have turned down no invitation to any event that we could be at. I didn't know about the 4th of July. We'll definitely check into that, because we want people to visibly see us. We want to talk about what we do, because we love talking about what we do.
And hopefully get more donations, more volunteers, more members.
Exactly. And that's really what our need is from the community. That's what we need. And in return, we're going to give the community, we're going to give back all these wonderful things for our children, for our adults.
The future of our community.
Yes.
And so once again, we're open from Tuesday to Saturday, 10 to 4. And Monday is our work day, but you can leave donations at the door on Sierra Nevada Street.
What's the
a blue
address
door
again?
It's on the corner of Sierra Nevada and Harding.
Well, our building address is 1913, so it's just the side. 1319. I'm sorry, 1319, and it is the side door. That is actually the address. 1319.
Donation door. I'd like to add too that, of course, we get wonderful donations, and even though we've outgrown our 7,000 square feet, it's wonderful that we're able to pass on very usable donations. In the past, we've given to Gospel Mission. Currently, we're giving to cerebral palsy. So those items that you donate still go to really worthy causes, who are very grateful, as we are, that you have taken the time to donate.
Everything helps, and every item can benefit someone in the community.
Yes. Yes.
Did you want to list your phone number and your website once more?
Okay, our phone number, and I'll have to put my glasses on. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The phone number is 209-466-8386.
Awesome.
And there is a recorder if you want to it takes a while because we let you know what the time of the store is open and etc. But please just leave your name and number and what your interest is, and someone will get back to you.
Awesome. Dory, did you want to add something?
You had asked earlier about the mission statement. And the National Assistance League recently put out a new mission statement for all 121 or 120 local chapters to use, and that is, Assistance League volunteers transforming the lives of children and adults through community programs. Wonderful. It's broad, but it's ambitious, transforming lives, strengthening communities.
And everyone can relate to that and embrace transforming lives. That's awesome. Is there anything that any of you would like to add as we're wrapping up?
Well, just thank you for this opportunity. It's just been wonderful for us to be able to express what we do and why we do it.
And I learned so much from Ilona.
Well, I can't take complete credit for that because Camilla Wolak, past president, she did do an historical pamphlet of Assistance League, and it was really very helpful. Thanks, Camilla.
And I just want to thank, one thing we haven't mentioned is a lot of the organizations we work with. We work with United Way very closely.
Andy Prokoff.
Yes. And we work, of course, with the child appointed child advocates.
Court appointed.
Court appointed.
Special.
Court appointed child advocates. And we also work with the Child Abuse Prevention Council. And we work with the unified school districts like Julie mentioned, Stockton, Lodi, and Lincoln. So we work with lots of other organizations that are
Women's Center?
in the Women's Center, excuse me, we do work with the Women's Center as well. So we work with a lot of other organizations, and like I said, you'll see more of us because our outreach program is we're going to be out there in the community.
Wonderful.
And you can see we like to talk. So
This has been
Not
great.
a problem.
The hour went by very quickly, and we're talking about something important and highlighting it, and hopefully motivating our listeners to participate.
And again, I just want to reiterate, thank you so much for having met her at Amgen and allowing us this short little period of time to share who we are, what we do, and to invite people in the community. Come visit us, come join us. Thank you so much, and good luck with the election.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. You're welcome. And with that, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to remind all of you that none of this would be possible without our amazing community radio station, The Voice of Stockton. I am the Voice of Stockton. You are the Voice of Stockton. We are the Voice of Stockton. Make it a great day.